Hey guys, midweek energy update. We have a jam-packed energy day going on Wednesday. Thursday, we've got some extreme tension going on. Things are definitely kind of delicate out there. It is giving, I would say, tinderbox vibes, okay? We want to kind of proceed with caution over this next couple of days. It is wise not to unnecessarily provoke anybody. Maybe don't take the dark, narrow alleyway on your way home. There is a greater likelihood and tendency for violence and people losing control, snapping, just kind of whirling or spinning out, okay, over not only the rest of this week, but actually moving through the next couple of weeks as well, as we have a very kind of like hostile, volatile new moon in Scorpio that is setting up for us also. So we do have kind of some red flag energy that is going on, but a very busy day energetically on Wednesday. There could also definitely be like a shock factor to this day. We have Mercury and Uranus setting up an exact opposition. We have a grand trine in water that is overlapping that Mercury-Uranus opposition with Mercury, Mars, and Neptune. Of course, we have this building Mars-Pluto opposition that is going to be squared by the moon on Thursday. That's why I'm saying Thursday is a day where things could just really be kind of like reaching their maximum amount of tension, which is also interesting because the new moon in Scorpio is on Friday. We're in the last 2 days of the Libra cycle right now. This was a cycle all about the beginning of the end. There could definitely be some endings that are really making themselves known in our lives today and tomorrow, Wednesday and Thursday of this week. And generally, we've just got a ton going on out there. So let's just get into it, put all this together, see if we can come up with some type of picture or story of what energy is looking like for us as we do close out this Libra cycle, prepare to enter our Scorpio cycle on Friday. Welcome back to my channel, you guys. Today is Wednesday, October 30th, 2024. My name is Aubrey. This is your astrological outlook of the day where we are narrating the shift of the ages. And if you guys stick with me until the end of this report, I have done a collective tarot reading for us today as well. I like to tap the energy field from more than one modality whenever I'm doing these energy overviews, just to get an additional like energetic perspective on what's going on out there. So there could be some messages in there for you. We're going to do that at the end. We're starting with the astrology. I do feel like today and tomorrow, Wednesday and Thursday, October 30th and 31st this year, could bring with them some just like significant or important ongoings or happenings. Wednesday's a real busy energetic day. We have several overlapping transits that we're going to be talking about. Thursday, we have the moon transiting through the sign of Libra, coming into a square with Mars and Pluto while they're in their opposition right now, which is coming exact on Friday, which is, again, indicating a point of extreme tension. And that is what is moving us into our Scorpio season, the formal entrance of Scorpio season, the new moon in Scorpio. So today and tomorrow, the 30th and the 31st, we are actually closing out the last 2 days of our Libra season, which is very interesting to me in terms of sort of like this overall chapter that this new moon in Libra cycle has been representing in terms of our bigger, larger cosmic blueprint that is unfolding right now as well. The specific portion that was comprised of our new moon in Libra energy, our eclipse season this year, that new moon came into alignment with a south node, karma, the past, endings, release, solar eclipse, you know, the life force feeding that with a new moon, which is about beginnings. This whole new moon in Libra cycle has energetically been indicating a cycle about the beginning of a process of the end, essentially. Okay. And it's funny because that transitions us into Scorpio season, which is Scorpio. This has a lot to do with the concepts and the themes of death and rebirth, the end and the beginning, regeneration, you know, purge, purification, regeneration, transformation, ultimately evolution. It's the Phoenix rising energy. So it has to do with the breakdown, but it also has to do with the rebirth and like the reemergence. This specific Scorpio new moon cycle, which we're going to talk about in the next video, that will be the next video that I put out, will be my analysis of the energy for our new moon in Scorpio. But the fact that it's also happening on November 1st, 111111. In numerology, that's an indication of like some fresh new beginnings that are actively and creatively like coming into formation and beginning to emerge. So we had the new moon in Libra cycle, which was indicating the end of the end, like the beginning of the end. And now immediately following that, we have a new moon in Scorpio cycle that's coming in, that's talking about the emergence of the beginning. And it's also interesting because we've got this Pluto Mars opposition that is setting up, and that is going to be coming exact in alignment with that new moon in Scorpio on the 1st. Pluto stationed direct at 29 degrees of Capricorn during that Libra cycle. Pluto at 29 degrees of Capricorn is talking about the end of a generational energy that has been ongoing since 2008. And further, because Pluto is transitioning, about to move into the sign of Aquarius right now, we are approaching a 20-year Aquarius Pluto generation transit that is at the like kind of forefront, I would say, of this condensed energetic transition into the larger age of Aquarius that we are going through simultaneously right now as well. To me, and I've been talking and saying this over and over, it's just the way that it appears to be in the tapestry of the energy as I'm perceiving it. But it seems as though this incoming Pluto Aquarius transit is rooting the age of Aquarius that has been emerging and coming in over the past, I would say, 100 years or so at this point. At least in a way that it's been perceptible to people that are like over time awakening to and able to perceive it. So the Libra cycle and all that's been going on, and the eclipses and this, that, and the other, everything I talk about all the time, indicating to me very fundamentally, this is representing the turning point, okay? The crossroads, the transition, the end of not only that Capricorn generation that's been going on since 2008 and the energy associated with it and the power dynamics associated with it, because Pluto rules power, but also our greater like paradigm shift into the age of Aquarius. That is what I think that the Scorpio cycle is introducing to us, is telling us energetically that we are emerging into, as it's like, and I've been also talking about how I felt like the Libra season this year had a lot to do with us actually like tipping the scales, Libra, more so finally into this age of Aquarius via Pluto's stationing direct and setting us up to move into the sign of Aquarius. Pluto rules power in all of its forms. Whatever sign Pluto is transiting through is where power is like magnetized, and it describes the way that power is essentially disseminated in our energetic universe and our relationship to it as humans in our physical 3D reality. So I feel like this last couple of days, all boiled down in a nutshell, is talking about being at a point in time that is representative of the breakdown and the breakaway from the old ways and the old worlds and the old essentially like energy patterns that had been dominating the manifestations in our 3D reality, and this emergence of this new energy that is coming like online. And I'm using that word specifically because we're talking about moving to the age of Aquarius, which has a lot to do with information traveling through the airwaves and the ether and mental connectivity and space age and all of that type of stuff. That's where this is a much more decentralized form of power also that we are going to find ourselves moving into, beginning to experience and incorporate into just the ways that the world is working over the course of this next 20 years. So yeah, I feel like today and tomorrow as a result, and it's being described in the actual transits that are happening today and tomorrow, which I'm going to talk about all of them. And again, like I said, a lot of them are overlapping, but because of all of that, because of the chapter that we're coming out of, the chapter that we're moving into, the greater significance of these specific activations at this period of time in the context of the larger chapter that is unfolding for us cosmically right now, the experiences that these couple of days hold therefore could be quite profound, quite significant, quite transformative, quite life-changing, quite also, crisis-oriented. This is a crisis-oriented energy that we have going on, especially Thursday, but really, again, moving through the rest of this week. And our entire Scorpio season, you guys, is going to be probably very intense, probably very contentious, very confrontational, and these two powerful forces coming to a head. I just got done doing this whole like dissertation on the transition that we're going through right now from the age of Pisces into the age of Aquarius, and I guess I'm going back there for a minute because another element of that, of us being sort of released energetically from one age and paradigm and moving into this emerging age and paradigm, we have to understand that the reality, okay, that has been built upon, and within and associated with the energy dynamics of the past, and that has represented our physical 3D reality and our perception of reality historically up until this period of time, because we're talking about energy that has been operating essentially for the past 2,000 years. So all of our historical contexts of things are in relation to right now, like our recorded history is pretty much pertaining to supposedly what's gone on over the past 2,000 years. So first of all, as we move through this period of time, a lot of that is going to be gone back through, I think, with kind of like a fine tooth comb. And I think we're going to make some, reanalyze our historical structure of reality, perhaps in the context of some new information that we gain or some things that we awaken to or become aware of as we move through this pending period of time here as well. However, there is this battle going on between the past and the future, the control structures, mechanisms, foundations, and the reality associated with the power and control dynamics and their hierarchies of the past, and this more decentralized form of power that is emerging now, and that the energetic emphasis is like going to be tipping itself towards. Okay, and that is being represented by this Mars-Pluto opposition that we have building this week. Pluto, 29 degrees of Capricorn, the sign of the past, the sign of authority, the sign of control, the sign of rules, government, establishment. Mars, 29 degrees of Cancer, the sign ruled by the moon, having to do with the public, the people, like the mother, the nurturing force, the homeland, what the needs of the people. Okay, so we've got the power structure coming up against the needs of the people, and we're moving into an energetic climate that is going to begin to favor the decentralized model of power as opposed to the centralized model of power, which has run the show for the past 2,000 years, and specifically whenever we have had an age of Capricorn or a generation of Capricorn, a Pluto Capricorn transit going on as well. So on that note, you guys, things could definitely be like, it is a wild card week as well. Things are with the Mercury Uranus opposition happening simultaneously, primed for these shocking discoveries. Things that have been hidden being found could also be a theme with this. Missing things like suddenly reappearing somehow. Be careful with technology and communication devices and water. With Mars, Mercury, and Neptune, that could bring like accidents with technology devices, communication devices, and water, like phones being destroyed by water. Okay, so just maybe take some extra care with your technology and stuff devices, and just around water generally, in and around water. Emotional breakdowns are also very highly likely with this. People are, again, probably, especially tomorrow, maybe being driven for some reason emotionally to what feels like a perceived breaking point. But honestly, because of where we're at, and because this is like the end of the end energy, this is the breakthrough into the new age energy, like literally, it is more probably like a breakthrough that's happening, even though it's likely to feel very, very much like a breakdown. A lot could also be breaking down. Like this is prime time for like engines and motors and the things that power things to experience malfunctions or issues or challenges or breakdowns. Also, passive aggressive energy is kind of likely right now as well. Deception, people not being upfront, people not being straightforward when we've got a Mars, Mercury, Neptune trine. There could be a lot of people that are really trying to get away with some very underhanded like type of stuff right now, means of obtaining their objectives. Cheating could be a big thing, but the problem is we also have like really strong aptitude for catching that type of thing right now as well. So I will tell you guys, like people are just more likely to be trying to get away with things, trying to cheat, because in the past this type of energy would have promoted that type of thing in a way that, you know, maybe could have been perceived as successful on some level. But because we also have this Mars Pluto opposition going on at these last degrees, the square coming in, the super strong scorpionic like x-ray vision type of energy, and Neptune's also retrograde with Mars, that's illusions being destroyed to probably a greater extent than they're able to be perpetuated and maintained right now, which is what would be necessary to finally break us out of this Piscean, Capricornian dominant energy and kind of like allow us to, like, the cracks to start shining through into this new way of being, this new energy. Being able, Aquarius energy, like, it really like honors and favors things that are authentic and things that are real and things that are true, as opposed to the Piscean energy, which has a lot to do with the dream and the illusion and the ideal, but that which is not necessarily like totally real. Aquarius wants, you know, basically only what is totally real. So again, like, whereas in the past the illusion, the projection, the narrative, the deception was able to be supported and like achieve its objectives and achieve its means, it's not gonna, I don't think it's gonna happen. Like, I just don't think it's gonna happen. I think that any attempts at cheating are going to be discovered in ways that could, again, cause really serious confrontations. We've got, obviously, you know, a very polarized energetic atmosphere that is happening right now as we're being pulled essentially between two energetic octaves. The one that we have only experienced and been in, you know, for generationally, this age of Pisces energy, and this new energetic octave, this Aquarian age octave that, you know, none of us have a recollection of experiencing. So we're caught between the past and the future, and that dynamic and those forces coming up against one another, vying for power, control, dominance, happening on an energetic level, is going to be manifested and reflected in terms of the interpersonal dynamics, situations going on within home and family and career, things to do with rules, regulations, governments, and authorities. Okay, and then there are going to be, so we've got these two sides. We've got Pluto and Capricorn, the power structures and dynamics of the past, and we've got Mars in the sign of Cancer, the warrior spirit fighting for the people, representing, you know, the breakthrough out of the grip of power of the hierarchies of the past. Okay, so this is the stage that is being set up right now. This is the energetic climate. This is what is likely to be transpiring, playing itself out, microcosm, macrocosm, in the individual interpersonal dynamics and also on the world stage. Pay attention, you guys, to your gut instincts right now. Pay attention also to your dreams. With Mercury and Neptune in the trine, there could be some important, especially with Mercury also opposite Uranus, there could be some important like flashes of insight or epiphanies or like realizations that come through the dream state, or that come through sort of like a gut knowing, or like just a gut instinct or something like that. So be very, you know, diligent about your intuition right now and like the intuitive hunches that you receive and stuff like that. Also be very strategic, taking actions, speaking, whatever is coming out of your mouth. Pay attention. People, like I said, people are going to be slipping up. A lot of people are going to be, I said this in one of my other videos, it is also giving the energy of being like drunk on power and in such a state of self-delusion that people are making mistakes and taking foolish risks and really like slipping up in a way that makes whatever they were trying to get done, or, you know, whatever they were involved in or whatever, just be very transparent, or not, you know, create an opening essentially for some shift or change of event to go on. Again, like these plot twist type scenarios coming in here, but it's going to be because of carelessness on the part of a lot of people caught up in this energy as well. So, shock factor definitely present here. It's probably a busy day on Wednesday. Again, we have several overlapping transits that are happening. And when I say overlapping, I mean like the same planet involved in more than one transit. For example, we have this water trine, grand water trine, that is playing out on Wednesday with Neptune, Mars, and Mercury. But Mercury is also in exact opposition to Uranus, and Mars is also almost in exact opposition to Pluto. So though Mars and Mercury are in the grand water trine, they also have other significant aspects going on as well. So, you know, I wouldn't necessarily expect things to go as planned right now. Whatever is bringing the shock factor also as a result, perhaps, of this Uranian energy and the oppositional contact to Mercury, it's likely to be a byproduct of perhaps what this Neptune, Mars, Mercury trine is exposing to us, showing to us, what we're finding out, what we're discovering. This grand water trine with Mercury, Mars, and Neptune, on an emotional level, even perhaps, it's facilitating whatever sudden shift or change or disruption or meeting or unexpected this, that, or the other is going on in the context of the Mercury situation. Mercury, the mind, the messenger planet, all about information. We also have the moon transiting the sign of Libra today. As I said, we've got a black moon day happening today as well. The moon is in a conjunction to the black moon in the sign of Libra. This is another thing that really could be making things clear. People could be very, very triggered and really exposing their dark side in a way that is undeniable and can no longer be tolerated. That is also what a lot of this could be about. But this air sign energy, very communicative period of time. The moon in Libra will also be in a trine to Jupiter in Gemini. Moon in Libra ruled by Venus, who is also in an opposition to Jupiter this week. In the midst of all of this, we also have a Venus-Jupiter opposition that is playing itself out, which is going to be making people want freedom, making people want truth, making people have a desire to see the bigger picture, okay? So it's really all fitting together in some very interesting ways, but information, messages, communication likely to be a focal point, or even, again, like with that water sign trine energy, maybe what we're coming to understand on a deeper level within our own selves that maybe has been holding us back, or some illusion that we have been operating under pertaining to other people or to ourselves. With that moon in the sign of Libra, it really does bring these relationship dynamics into this whole picture and story as well. So, you know, emotional reactions and mental breakdowns or awakenings could be for sure a component of how this energy is coming together and playing itself out for us on Wednesday. But I do think, for the most part, the greatest amount of like energetic focus is going to be expressed through the concept of these discoveries and these realizations, these wake-up calls that are coming through just like so blaring right now in a way that are undeniable, and like we can no longer look away. The shattering of the illusion that shocks us awake, shocks us back to life. The wake-up call that opens our eyes in a way that maybe makes us see things that we haven't seen or perceived before. Spells are being broken with this as well. However, you know, as I said earlier, and I will continue to say, Pisces is a sign that is very dualistic. It's got two very distinct polarities. Mercury in Scorpio, you guys, is very, very stubborn. Okay, and Mars can be just very aggressive, very hostile, very combative, especially in the sign of Cancer, when we feel like the over identification with the emotions and the ego. A lot of people, to the same extent, well, actually, I don't think to the same extent. I think more people actually are going to be having these like eye-opening revelations that sort of like change the whole game for them in this energy, and like cause them to make some radically different choices or decisions moving forward over this next couple weeks. I think that's the primary way this is going to play out. But to a slightly lesser extent, we are also likely to see people digging in heels like we have never seen before, gripping to some self-delusion, to some avoidance of reality, to some refusal to acknowledge anything but a self-concept of illusion or fantasy or something like that. A lot of people are really going to be going hard and going off the deep end in terms of stubbornly fixating on their view of reality as well, even if it appears more illusion than truth. There's a major, and that's another thing, talking about the transition from the age of Pisces into the age of Aquarius. Like I said earlier, Pisces is a lot about illusions and fantasies and the dream state, and Aquarius has a tendency to focus on what's authentic and what's like genuine and ultimately what is real. So this is also presenting a dilemma and a tug of war or a push and pull or battle of the ages, however you want to frame it, between essentially like fact and fiction, fantasy and reality, truth and illusion, these very same themes coming up against each other. But it's going to be, I think, very difficult for a lot of people to decipher which is which in the context of only ever having experienced one and essentially having very, very little experience with another, but being expected to know which direction is like essentially, you know, going to move us to where we all ultimately want to be. I do think that a lot of people are, as I said, going to be waking up and saying no more to something as a result of this. That Libra new moon cycle, the beginning of the end, the Scorpio new moon cycle, the beginning of the beginning. So we've got to have some things go on that have us leaving something behind, preparing to move forward in some type of totally new direction. People are definitely going to be rebelling. That's going to be a huge dynamic of this. And I mean, I've been describing it without using that word a lot so far in this report. It's gonna be like it's 1776 again out there. This is very much energetically correlating to the initial American Revolution, you know, July 4th, 1776 vibes. We've got that come back around. We're at the same period of time energetically via Pluto's placement and the condensed power transitioning into the decentralized power that was represented then when there was a breakaway from tyranny associated with the British Empire essentially, and decentralized in the form of the United States of America. That these very same themes coming back around now, and it's just so interesting how it's playing out. People are ready to absolutely face off against the forces of tyranny and oppression at any and all costs. As I've been describing, this polarity, this opposition between Mars and Pluto at 29 degrees. That's ultimately what this is representing. Mars, the people, the warrior for the people, up against Pluto, the power structure and the establishment. This is the battle for freedom from tyranny and oppression. But it's very interesting because, as I said, we're exiting from this Piscean energy. So everyone, which is about these two distinct polarities and nothing really being clear, okay? So everyone really collectively at the foundational level is actually on the same page right now. Destroy tyranny to free the human spirit, essentially at any means necessary. That is like the seed, that's the vibe of this whole time generally, and historically, or at any point in time when Pluto is at 29 degrees of Capricorn, about to move to 29 or to 0 degrees of Aquarius, these same themes are going to be coming back up. But again, because of where we're at in our larger transition of ages right now, and this is tipping the scales into the age of Aquarius, which is actually releasing us from that greater 2,000 year period of time, it's likely to be more profound, more significant, and again, like more happening in a shorter period of time that is reflecting, okay, that literal like energetic power of the ages that is underway right now. But because we're exiting this Piscean energy, even though ultimately I think we're all like wired in the same way essentially to fight against tyranny for the benefit of like the overall whole and the overall good, moving into this Aquarius, the stronger Aquarian energy, not everybody is going to be in agreement, okay, about which of those polarities or which of those octaves is representing that path towards the future. It's not clear, it's not straightforward, there's a lot of deception, there's a lot of illusion, there's a difficult time discerning that fact from fiction energy. There are two different realities, two different projections that are essentially happening at once right now. This is also being described by the position of the North Node at 7 degrees of Aries right now, where it has been throughout the duration of our entire eclipse season that we've gone through. The North Node has been at this degree for like a couple of months now, and it literally, the Sabian symbol is a man successfully expressing himself in two realms at once, talking about these two movies on one screen that are playing right now, okay, these two simultaneous realities and worlds that are both going on at the same time. And depending on which one people are identifying with and associating with, determines essentially, obviously, their entire worldview and their perception of the other and the oppositional force, okay? And one of these, obviously, is more associated with the Pluto Capricorn energy, representing the past, centralized power, the power and control structure and matrix itself, cloaked, though, in the guise of progress. And then on the other hand, we have the energy that is representing the true breakdown of this power and control hierarchy and dynamic from the past, and a restoration, ultimately, of power to the people. Yet on the surface, it's undiscernible as such, okay? Everything is cloaked right now. Nothing is as it seems. And as a result, it has become very difficult to discern the past from the future, which is which. And as a result, a lot of people are caught up in these polarized octaves. Sure, that their particular octave is the only octave, but one of these octaves is the octave, right? One of these ways is the way forward. It's just part of the test right now, part of our breakthrough. And I also feel like this is happening because as we move forward into this Aquarian energy, it's an age of self-knowledge and self-awareness, right? Having to do with the age of Aquarius. And it's also an age of self-actualization and a greater level of self-empowerment and cosmic understanding and co-creation. Like, we have to take our power back. That's a major facet of this. We have to learn to think for ourselves. We have to learn to discern. We have to learn to be free on a mental level. And a lot of the illusions that we're coming up against right now and having to figure out, you know, fact from fiction and fantasy from reality in the context of only ever having experienced one octave and not really knowing what we're looking for or where we're going. Through going through that process, we're going to learn a lot that is actually going to be necessary to help us transition into this new energy. The growth that is evoked from what we're going through now is like real important, I think, in terms of who we need to become as we begin to root this new energy onto the planet and, you know, really get this paradigm shift moving forward. So both of these realities, I think, believe their reality is the one that is truly fighting tyranny, that is truly of and for the people, as the Piscean fish is swimming in these two different directions and distorting, you know, as I just said, our ability to perceive which is the true path forward right now. Okay, we're exiting the age of Pisces. Obviously, the power dynamics and forces that were established in that age that have had their reign of dominance throughout the past 2,000 years, they're obviously not just going to hand that over to the incoming decentralized power dynamic. There's going to be a battle for the ages in terms of the shifting power dynamics. And the best way, I think, or one of the ways at least, that this faction of control and power, the hierarchy of power and control that is losing power right now, has been essentially perpetuating their power dominance for, you know, as long as possible, because that's obviously what anyone in that situation would seek to do, would be to gain and maintain and hold on to power as long as possible, even though they know that it can't possibly be forever. I think because of the Piscean energy, it's been through these projections, these narratives, this collective hypnosis state that essentially has created like a suspended animation, at least in terms of our perception of the changes that should be going on as we're transitioning forward right now, in order, as you know, I said, to delay the onset of the future course of things that is going to come to pass no matter what. And also, if you guys are still following me, that's what I feel like is largely responsible for what will probably be a very condensed, transformative period of time over the course of this next several years. There's probably going to be more changes that happen over the next 10 to 20 years that have happened in the past, like, I don't know, 100 years maybe, at least in terms of our understanding and awareness of life and reality and our place in the universe and the laws of reality in the universe and our place in, I meant to say our place in the cosmos and all of that. It's going to be like unleashing the floodgates as we move through this period of time, and a lot of us are going to have a lot to learn. But anyways, so that's really how I see this lining up, the energy that we're moving through the midpoint this week into the end of this week, when we do have that new moon Pluto-Mars opposition that are both going to be happening together on Friday. And of course, in the next video, we're going to be going a lot deeper into all of this and talking about it just in a lot more detail. I'm sure I'll spend a whole hour talking about that dynamic on Friday and just the context of the new moon that the new moon is providing for us as well. But people versus tyranny at the bottom of all this right now, you guys. And once I'm going to save the Sabian symbols for our next video when Mars and Pluto are in that exact opposition. But like, I literally, this symbolism on its own is telling the entire story as well. Real powerful stuff that we have setting up right now. But people versus tyranny, and the question of which power structure is truly for the people, is where these explosive confrontations are likely to come from. It is a pressure cooker out there right now. Like I said, tinderbox energy for sure. Use caution over this next few weeks. Do not provoke people. People are just likely to go from 0 to 100 real quick and have a very low capacity for emotional self-control. So we're going to want to just be mindful of that. Be strategic. Silent power wins when we have Scorpio energy going on. Allow people also to emote, to let it all out, to get things off their chest, better than being pent up in this energy, okay? Because that is what can lead to a lot of these explosions or eruptions. Make changes to fix or transform your life. This is the absolute best use of this energy. Detox, cleanse, purge, purify, release. These are the ways that we want to be using this energy proactively, okay, as we move through this week. Also excellent for deep meditation, reprogramming the subconscious mind. Any effort you make along those lines will probably be productive and beneficial. Solving problems from root levels, the deeper psychoanalysis of ourselves and situations is supported in this energy. And just be aware, there is a destructive nature to the way that things are just kind of reverberating out there right now. now, but we don't want to use it in a way that is self-sabotaging. Use the destructive energy to your benefit, especially in terms of the old parts of, you know, ourselves and our lives that have been keeping us trapped in any type of way, anything that we have been enslaved to, whether it be something within ourselves. This is an excellent time for breaking also any type of addictions or bad habits that are not benefiting like the trajectory that we want to move forward with right now. And releasing any type of toxic ego attachments or relationships as well, becoming reacquainted with our own truth, what's really real and sincere and honest and genuine for us, our authentic self. That is where your power is going to be seated over this rest of time going forward, unless you're going to go beyond the next 2,000 years. Okay? The ways, and Uranus transiting through Taurus right now is helping us with that as well, awakening to the authentic potential, awakening to the value and the worth and the creative force that we hold inside, and how that's unique or how that's individual or how that's different from what everybody else has going on, and how we can utilize it to produce something that can create something of beauty or something of abundance or something just of material comfort or pleasure in the physical 3D world. We are the Taurus, the sign of the builder, okay? With Uranus, the great awakener. We are awakening to what we can actually build if we reconnect to the truth of ourselves. And that is what is necessary to build this new age moving forward. So you see how this all fits together, you guys. So all together now, we have Mars in an opposition to Pluto, a grand water trine with Mars, Neptune, and Mercury. Mercury opposing Uranus. Venus also opposing Jupiter. We've got the Libra moon going on that is also giving us black moon energy, activating the black moon. And on Thursday, which I want to transition into talking more specifically about Thursday right now, that moon is going to be squaring Pluto and Mars in their very tight opposition. Thursday could be very, very hostile, confrontational. I've already said this is a day of extreme tension. Pluto is also in a relative opposition to the moon right there. I mean, Chiron, sorry. Chiron is also in a relative opposition to the moon in Libra, Chiron and Aries. Chiron is also a kind of like a precarious, volatile degree in the zodiac, known as the Eris point. It's the point in the sky where actually the planet Eris was discovered. And if you know anything about the Eris mythology, it kind of gives a bit even more insight into what we have going on right now. But the Sabian symbol associated with that degree, which is 21 degrees of Aries, is a boxer entering the ring, and it is just kind of notorious for, it can provoke kind of like explosive events to take place. And with Chiron there and the moon in opposition and this very obviously very contentious, very like tightly pulled Mars Pluto opposition, it is what it is. It's just things, like I said, they're pulled all the way taut, and it's just a matter of time before something snaps. And that's just what we're looking at right now. So it could just kind of be a challenging day, maybe especially in the context of other people and relationships. Also things to do maybe with career or authority, home and family as well, with the Capricorn Cancer dynamic. But honestly, like on a geopolitical world stage type of level, like things going on with power structures and governments and stuff like that are likely to be real heated. There could also be quite a bit of unruly behavior going on for this All Hallows Eve, 31st of October, Halloween this year. Be safe again, avoid danger, not a good risk-taking energy. There is a heightened risk of violence over this next couple of weeks for sure. Not saying this because we need to be in a state of fear, but saying this because we need to strategize and we need to prepare ourselves. We need to be very mindful, okay? We're not being afraid of things. We're just being mindful of things, okay? So, and also, we're learning how to use our power wisely. That's another lesson that is coming through here right now. Learning how to control our emotions, learning how to use our power wisely, how to use our power properly, which is a major lesson that is required as we go through this transition of ages and we are re-empowered on an individual level, and power is decentralized to the from that overall hierarchy to a more collective level. I talked a lot about that in my last video as well. which if you haven't watched would add more context to this one, of course, because it's the video that comes right before this one and the energy and descriptions and all of that story leading into this one. So we're learning how to use our power wisely right now over this period of time, over this Scorpio season for sure. It's going to be a requirement for this next level of self-mastery and human conscious evolution, indicated by where we are transitioning energetically as a planet right now. Do not allow yourself, my friends, to be emotionally provoked over the coming days. Take control of your energy and your power. Choose your outcome through your preferable response, not your like wild action. Okay, we are only destroying what we have been enslaved to, hopefully not ourselves in the process. Okay, so that's what I have to say, you guys. That's where I feel like we're at. That's where I feel like all of this is taking us. We got the water trine, the Uranian energy. There could definitely be some discoveries, some missing information, some illusions breaking down, but also people really digging in. And again, people very convinced that two polarized realities, both of them convinced that their side is fighting for the people and fighting against tyranny. The problem is this Neptunian distortion that is making it very difficult to perceive the accurate direction in this energy. So ultimately, it's just crazy because like ultimately everybody is fighting for the same thing. Our just observational awareness and our perception of what that is at this point in time is skewed based on essentially our level of connection to the age that we are coming out of now, and our level of perception of a future energy that has not yet fully occurred yet. So anyways, there's that. I'm going to do our tarot card reading now, you guys. This, the way that the tarot energy is coming out and has come out in our reading today, what we need to find our strength. Like I was saying, a major element of the lesson of the energy and the path and everything, how it's going and flowing and coming together right now, has to do with teaching us to and helping us to actually find our strength. I do want to say the strength card came out reversed first, but throughout the course of my shuffling, it actually fell on the floor to upright. So that's telling me that there could be a sense of perceived weakness that we may be coming up against over the coming days, but our task is to pull it out of ourselves, to refuse to surrender maybe to the state of personal weakness that may be plaguing us somehow, or feeling like we can't do it, or feeling that we're not good enough, or feeling we should just give up, throw in the towel, whatever. We have to find our strength, okay? The series of cards that we have coming out on the back of the deck, we've got the Two of Cups in reverse, the Four of Pentacles, and the Nine of Cups. What this is making me feel like is the more that we cling to specifically the people, but the things, the people, the situations that maybe we thought were essentially like a part of us, but we're coming to understand now are no longer a reflection of who we are becoming. The longer that we hold on to what we know is no longer like a soul match for us, the longer essentially we are perpetuating our own personal detachment from that which is, from that which will bring us some true sense of wish fulfillment, maybe on some more deeper levels. Now, this is also talking about, to me, I feel like this Libra moon, Venus, Jupiter opposition is being expressed through this reading right now as well. Like finding the strength, again, to move on, to let go, to break ourselves free in a way from the situations that have defined us, that we've been committed to, that we've been holding on to so tightly because we just feel like there's more. Like with Venus and Jupiter in opposition, I didn't talk about it today as much as, perhaps I would have liked to. That is a really nice energy. That though, it makes us want more. Like we want it all, okay? When we've got Venus Venus and Jupiter in a conjunction and an opposition. It's a very big love, a desire for experience, a desire for knowledge, like a desire for something that is so much more like enriching and fulfilling and all encompassing. So I feel like kind of maybe what this reading is telling us is we may really be, and under that we have the Hangman, and then we've got the Two of Swords. Like we may really be caught up in a place where we are coming to realize that if we stay connected or we stay committed to this certain thing maybe that we've been involved in, or the certain relationship or something, that we are like denying the expansion or the growth that like our heart and soul is truly seeking at this point in time. You know what I mean? And like needing to find the strength to move forward or do what is necessary, or to like be loyal also with the Strength card, this Leo energy here, be loyal to our own heart or to our own self, and therefore maybe have to make, you know, some difficult decisions so that we do come back to this place of personal self-empowerment, being in our creative power, being in having a better relationship with, and being more in touch with our own inner resources and stuff like that, so that we can create or experience this greater level of fulfillment that maybe we find ourselves really seeking after right now as well. Seeking Sagittarius, Jupiter, like Venus, wanting it all. Okay. So that is what I feel like this tarot reading is saying. And again, like something about needing to find the strength to pull it out of ourselves, to not surrender and not give in to anything less than we know we deserve. I feel like that's what it is. And I feel like also a lot of people are going to be refusing to continue going along with some status quo as a result of some discovery or piece of information or new context. Again, the Mercury, Uranus, that water trine situation that we have going on as well. Like whatever we're discovering, whatever we're finding out, whatever illusions are breaking down, are making it so we can no longer continue to like dishonor ourselves in some way. So anyways, that's my tarot reading for today, you guys. We're gonna get one more card now, Synchronicity card, God, Spirit, Universe. What is one final piece of information? Oh, it came right out. It says, think of good. The mouth of the righteous is a well of life. Proverbs 10:11. As you continue to think on whatsoever things are true, lovely, noble, and of good report, you will gradually change the negative patterns of your thought. You become aware of a gradual change and think constructively based on what you know to be right and good. So again, this is us being very mindful, and specifically in this context, of where we're allowing our thoughts to go, having that sense of self-control, making sure that we are using our mind constructively, and the power of our mind and what is created as a result of our emotions in combination with our mind, Mercury and Neptune, and then the actions that result. Because if you think about it, Mercury, Scorpio, this water sign energy, Neptune and Pisces, that's also this very emotional watery realm, and then Mars, that's our actions. So we need to do our best to gear and orient our thoughts and our emotions in a way that are going to produce the best results in our experiences, and that is what this card is reminding us as well. So that's what I have to say today, you guys. Message from the stars, message from the cards. I hope you guys liked the video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel. You guys share it with your friends if you think they would enjoy this type of astrology content as well. Leave me comments. I am so grateful for your presence here. I really value what you guys have to say, your contributions to my channel. If you are having experiences that line up with what I'm talking about in these reports, please let me know in my comment section below. If you want to know what's on this whiteboard over here, I have a Facebook group linked in my description box below where I post pictures of these boards. So if you want to see the whole thing, that's where you will find them. And come back with me on Friday, you guys. As I said, this is going to be another big video, another big like monumental energetic activation moment. Mars and Pluto coming into their exact face off for 111 November 1st, new moon in Scorpio. And by the way, Mars and Pluto are the co-rulers of the sign of Scorpio. So it's a Scorpio season like no other that we are heading towards, you guys, and I will be here to talk all about it. You should be here too. You do not want to miss this one. I will see you then. Have a beautiful midweek this week, you guys, and until next time, bye.